Good day all. Today we are going to look at the nature of quadratic equation. We are going to look at the nature of quadratic equation, and this will give us an idea of how our quadratic equation will look like after solving. Because sometimes we can have some quadratic equation that we may not even think of which of the methods that we are going to use in solving the problem. So therefore, if we are able to know the nature of the quadratic equation, how it looks like, so that will give us an idea of which of the methods we are going to apply in solving the problem. So to solve or to know the nature of quadratic equation, you use a formula called, which is stated as b squared minus 4ac. And this will give us an idea of how our quadratic equation looks like. It will give us an idea of how our roots will look like. And from there, we will know whether we are going to apply completing square methods, formula methods, or factorization methods. So this will give us an idea. And this formula that we are going to use to know the nature of quadratic equation is called discriminants. It's called discriminants. It is called discriminant. Called discriminants. So it's called discriminants. So in this case, we are now going to look at three different cases. So we are going to look at case 1, case 2, and case 3. So now let's see if we have maybe from our quadratic equation, let's say we have ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So now in case 1, if we have b squared minus ac is equal to 0, that is, it means that after you now look from your quadratic equation, you'll get the value of a, b, and c from the general quadratic equation. If you now get your b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0, so that means the equation is real and equal. The equation is real and equal. So that is to tell us that if we now use the discriminants from a particular given quadratic equation, and we now found that b squared minus 4ac after we impute all the values, it gave us 0. So that tells us that the equation or the root of the equations are real and equal. It means that the root of the equation are real and equal. So now let's look at some examples and see. If we have an equation, let's say we have x squared minus 6x plus 9 is equal to 0. So let's say we have x squared minus 6x plus 9. So let's now use this equation and the discriminant to see which types of roots do we have from the given equation. So of course, by comparing with the equation of quadratic, since here we have nothing, it means that the coefficient of x squared is 1. So that is our a. So it means that our a is 1 and our b is minus 6 and our c is equal to 9. So now we are going to impute this value. We are now going to impute this value. So in this equation, so then we have b squared minus 4ac. So our b is minus 6. So we have minus 6 squared. We have minus 4 times our a is 1 times our c is 9. So now minus 6 squared is 36. So minus 4 times 1 times 9 is also 36. So we have 36 minus 36. So 36 minus 36 is 0. And this is to tell us that the equation is real and equal. It means that at the end, if you now take this equation and you solve it using the standards or using factorization method or any method, at the end, the root of the equation are going to be equal, and also they are going to be real at the same time. So now, and at the same time, like for example from here, since it tells us that the equation is real and is equal, it means that you can simply apply factorization method and solve this equation. So now let's use the quadratic factorization. Let's use factorization method to solve this problem, to see how our root of the equations are going to look like. So of course, we have x squared minus 6x plus 9 is equal to 0. And of course, from factorization method, what we are going to do here is first, we are going to think of two numbers that if you multiply them, it will give us this 9. And if we add them, they are going to give us this minus 6. So I think simply we can see that if we can now say minus 3 times minus 3, we are going to get plus 9. So we are going to get this. And if we also take minus 3 plus open bracket minus 3, we are going to get minus 6. So it means that you can just say minus 3x minus 3x, we are now going to have minus 6x. So now we are going to substitute this value in this equation. So we are going to substitute minus 6 with minus 3 minus 3. So therefore we now have x squared minus 3x minus 3x, then we have plus 9 is equal to 0. So we are now going to create brackets. So here and here I can factorize x. So x is common here. So you can factorize x. So we have x out, then we now have x minus 3. And also here we have negative already. So 3x and 9 here. So the factors will now simply factorize 3 from here. So we have 3. So we now have x minus 3. Minus 3 times x, of course we have minus 3x, and minus 3 times minus 3 we have plus 9. So you now have is equal to 0. So at the end, remember from every factorization method, if you check my previous videos on quadratic equation, whenever you do factorization method, at the end you are going to have an equation where, at the end you are going to have two roots that are in the same. So we have them here, we have this and this, so they are the same. So this one we are going to create bracket for them. So we have x minus 3 for this one, and we have 2 here, x minus 3 and x minus 3, so we select 1. So we now have x minus 3 is equal to 0. So x minus 3 is equal to 0 or x minus 3 is equal to 0. So at the end, we now have x is equal to 3. So our x1 is 3 and our x2 is equal to 3. So this is to tell us that the equations for the root of the equations are equal and they are real at the same time. So this is what we call the root of the equation. So the final answer for x1 and x2, they are called roots of the equation. They are called roots of the equation. So from here we can simply see that our ax or our bx minus 4ac, at the end after we now substitute the values from the given equation, we are able to get that b squared minus 4ac is 0. So that tells us that the roots of the equation are real and equal. So that is for this. So now we are going to look at the case 2. So this is for case 1. So now we are going to look at case 2. So if b squared minus 4ac, which is the discriminant, is greater than 0, then the roots of ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0 are real and unequal. So it means that if you have a case when you calculate your b, when you use your discriminant and you observe that the value is greater than 0, so that is to tell you that the roots of your equations are real but unequal. It means that it is real but unequal. So let's look at a case. So let's say we have x squared minus 8x plus 15 is equal to 0. So our A here is 1, our B is minus 8, our C is 15. So we have our A is equal to 1, our B is minus 8, and our C is 15. So now we take our equation, which is b square minus 4ac, which is the discriminant. So b is minus 8 square, then minus 4, our a is 1, so we now say times 1, then times 15. So now minus 8 square is 64, minus 8 square is 64, 4 times 1 is 4 times 15 is 60. So you have 64 minus 16. So 64 minus 60 is 4. So 4 is greater than 0. So since 4 is greater than 0, so that means our root of the equation are real but unequal. The root of our equation are real but unequal. So now let's use, and at the same time, since it is real, it means that you can use factorization method and solve this equation. So let's look at how we are going to apply factorization methods to solve this question. So of course, from the equation we can see that clearly we have minus 8 and 15. So we are going to get two numbers that if you multiply them, they will give us 15, and if you subtract them, they will give us, and if we add them, they will give us minus 8. So now let's look at minus 3 and minus 5. So minus 3 times minus 5, it will give us plus 15. And minus 3 plus open bracket minus 5, it will give us minus 8. So we are now going to add minus 3x minus 5x, because plus times minus is minus, so we have minus 8x. So we have minus 8x. So since here we have minus 8x, it means that we can substitute the value of minus 8x in the equation. So we can now have x squared minus 3x minus 5x plus 15 is equal to 0. So we can now create a bracket for this. So we create two brackets. So here x is common, so we factorize x. So we have x minus 3 in the bracket, and here 5 is a common factor. We can factorize 5. Now we have x minus 3. So at the end, we have the same bracket. So we select one and we create bracket for this. So we now have x minus 5, x minus 3 is equal to 0. So it means that x1 is equal to plus 5 and x2 is equal to plus 3. So you see they are real, but they are unequal. So they are not equal, but they are real. So that is why you can simply apply factorization method and solve this problem. Then we have case 3. We have case 3. So what happened in case 3? So in case 3, if b square minus 4ac is less than 0, then the root of your quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, are imaginary and unequal. So that is why sometimes it's very advisable, if you are given a question, to first use the discriminant and check if you can apply factorization method or you can apply formula methods. So actually from here, whenever you calculate or whenever you use your discriminant and you observe that the value of your discriminant is less than 0, it means that it is negative. So you have to think of using formula methods to solve such problem. So let's now look at examples. Let's now take an example. Let's take an example for case 3. So assuming now we have an equation like this, let's say we have an equation like this, x squared minus 2x plus 2 is equal to 0. So now let's take our discriminant, b squared minus 4ac is equal to, so we have to get the value of a, b, and c. So a, from this equation, our value of a is 1, our value of b is minus 2, and our value of c is 2. So therefore now, from this, we can just take our b squared is minus 2 squared, then minus 4 times 1 times, yes, our c is 2, then we now say times 2. So therefore, minus 2 squared is 4, minus 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 times 2. So we have minus 8. So at the end, we have the minus 4. So this is to tell us that since the values of 10 from the discriminant is negative, it means that it is imaginary and unequal. So that is case 2. So now, from here, since it is less than 4, you can't even think, or you can't even start thinking of using a factorization method to solve such problem, because if you use it at the end, it will become very complicated. It will be very complicated, and in fact, it's not even possible. So as a result of that, let's just check those questions and see. So it means that the only way, if you have this kind of imaginary and unequal equation, unequal roots, is to apply formula method. So let's now apply the formula method and see what we are going to get from here. So this is the equation. Here we have x squared minus 2x plus 2 is equal to 0, and the value of a is 1, the value of b is minus 2, and the value of c is 2. So now, what are we going to do now? We have our formula, so we just substitute. So we have f is equal to minus, so our v is minus 2, so we have minus into minus 2 plus or minus, open brackets, square root of minus 2 square minus 4a minus 4 times 1 times c is 2. Then divide 2 by 2 times 1. So therefore we now have 2 minus times minus is plus, so we have 2 plus or minus open brackets 4 minus 8 divided by 2. So at the end, we're now going to have 2 plus or minus square root of minus 4 divided by 2. And what is it going to be the square root of minus 4? So it's a complex number. We are going to have 2 plus or minus 2i, because it is a complex number. So this I indicates complex number divided by 2. So for our x1, we are now going to have 2 plus or minus 2i divided by 2, or 2 minus 2i divided by 2. Therefore, we now have x1 is equal to, so if we now factorize this and we play around with this, we are going to have, we have 2 plus 2i divided by 2. It means that it's simple to say 2 into 1 plus 1i. 1 plus 1i divided by 2. So this one will cancel this. So that is why at the end, our final answer for x1 is going to be 1 plus or minus, plus 1i. And then for this one is going to be 1 minus 1i, 1 minus 1i, which is for our x2. So this is only imaginary and equal number, so you cannot use factorization method to solve such problem. So ladies and gentlemen, this is actually the nature of quadratic equation, how to understand the nature of quadratic equation. So the first thing, if you are given a quadratic equation, try as much as possible to know the nature of quadratic equation before you even think of using, or before you even think of the methods that you are going to apply. So first, from the root of the quadratic equation, it will give you an idea of the base methods to solve the equation. So thank you for listening, and if you did not subscribe to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to see more videos on mathematics and other subjects. Thank you.